Guys, today we're going to talk about regardless of the type of separation that you're in. For some of you, you're doing what's called nesting, where you keep the kids and then she comes and she keeps the kids and you switch off. Some of you are doing an in-house separation. You're sleeping in the basement or she is, or if you're in the basement, she's upstairs or vice versa. For some of you, you're doing a physical separation. For some of you, she's living with her limited affair partner. It doesn't really matter. Regardless of the type of separation that you're in, if you're listening to some moron out there on YouTube that's telling you that for somebody that's ever been through or currently going through a separation, if you've been in a long-term relationship or a marriage, no contact is foolish advice. Stop doing it immediately. And today I'm going to give you 3 things that you can start doing that actually should give you some semblance of progress. Let's get started. You just got to be coachable. With the 3 things I'm about to go over, they are going to be probably radically different than what you're used to doing. But I'll tell you this, aren't you ready to see a different outcome in your marriage, in your long-term relationship? Aren't you ready to see a different result? Aren't you ready to see the train turn around that's currently heading down south where the marriage or the relationship dies forever? She's with another man permanently, maybe in a marriage, and there's no chance of reconciliation. Isn't it time to do something different? In the event that you're in a position where you want to see different results, that's never going to happen. I promise you that until you start doing something differently. So let's get started on what are a couple of things that you can do. And specifically, today I'm going to talk about 3 things. Before we do that, please do me a favor. Train the algorithm that this channel is radically different and it helps people who are facing an unwanted divorce or separation forever if they're in a long-term relationship or a marriage. The way that you can do that is through the law of reciprocity. Help me help you by you helping other people. Well, how can you do that? I'm very glad you asked. Here's what you can do. Train the algorithm that this content is beneficial and helpful to people. The way that you can do that is by pressing the subscribe button and more importantly, pressing the bell notification so that you're notified when new videos come up that are going to be beneficial to helping you turn this around. Please, please, please do that right now. It's the law of reciprocity. If you'll do that, I promise you it'll come back on you. If you'll do that, you'll see the law of reciprocity manifested in your life. I promise you this. The first thing that I want to talk about before we hit the 3 things that you can do is what the hell no contact is even being taught for. Listen, no contact has its place, but not in a long-term relationship or a marriage. Where did that crap even come from? No contact only works in short-term relationships. I actually was the master of no contact back in the day. Well, Denver, I just thought you said that that doesn't work. It doesn't work in long-term relationships or marriages. But if you're a freshman in college, it will work if you have 5 or 6 girlfriends, you're not serious about anyone in particular, you're not looking for a long-term relationship, you're definitely not looking for a marriage. If one of them goes cold on you, no contact always works. Well, Denver, why is that crap being taught on YouTube? Look at the people teaching it. Have they ever been in a long-term relationship or marriage themselves? Are they wearing a wedding ring? Have they ever been in your shoes and navigated the water successfully to take the boat from where you are to where you want to go? And the answer, I guarantee you, is hell no, they haven't. This is what I always like to say. God does not call the qualified, meaning someone that has a PhD in counseling. Guess what? There's a reason that marriage counselors would better identify as amicable divorce counselors is because they know damn well that it doesn't work. 91% of couples that visit a marriage counselor end up in divorce because marriage counseling doesn't work. Because what we're taught in school around how do you restore a relationship is the opposite of what works. If that worked, I wouldn't have a job. But guess what? Now that you're starting to understand that, some of you have probably been through marriage counseling and it made things go from bad to worse, and the marriage counselor actually successfully convinced your wife or your lover that you're the problem. Guess what? That almost always goes down like that. So why is no contact still being taught? Because the people that are teaching it are young, they're teaching it from their life experiences, and they're teaching it from their age bracket, from their perspective. They probably don't have children, and they probably have never been in a marriage. They cannot relate to what you're going through. Well, then why do they have successful channels? Why do they have successful programs that are gaining lots and lots of clients? Because they're helping people that are desperate, that are in depression, sometimes even having thoughts of suicide. Snap out of that because there are men's leadership programs that are helping you get out of depression, get out of the funk, and maybe feel a little bit better about yourself. But guess what? It's not restoring the relationship. You're making no advancement towards restoring the marriage. 41% of the clients that I get into the DivorceStoppers program come from those programs. And the men never talk bad about those programs. Why not? Because maybe it saved their life, because it helped get them out of a funk. Okay, I'm all about somebody getting out of depression, getting out of a funk. But in the Divorce Stoppers program, we approach it very differently. We don't get you out of depression or get you out of a funk by making you feel good about yourself, by helping you become a stoic man and get in the gym. While there's nothing wrong with all of that, is that really what you're looking to do? No, you're looking to restore the relationship. You want your wife back, your lover back, your soulmate. So the first week in our program, we're going to get you out of a funk, get you out of depression. And the way that we do that is show you vivid, clear results that you can see that the relationship has taken a complete U-turn in the first 7 days. So now that we know no contact does not work in restoring a long-term relationship or a long-term marriage, what does work? Let's talk about 3 things that will. Number 1, you've got to become best friends again with your wife. Now listen, there's a danger to doing this if you don't do it the correct way. And let me talk about that. Well, Denver, I don't want to be best friends again with my wife. I want us to be back in the same household as lovers. And for some of you, you're like, I would settle for becoming best friends again. Listen, your actions are not telling her or indicating in any way that you would like to be her friend again. What's happening is you're aligning your actions with your feelings, which are telling her, I'm a selfish little boy who doesn't see your point of view or your perspective, and I just want the marriage restored. I want what I want because I'm a 3-year-old. That's what she's perceiving because you're aligning your actions with your feelings instead of your goals. And it's because you don't know what else to do. By the way, no contact is aligning your actions with your feelings because it feels really good to not give someone communication that's not deserving of it. And while that might be true, not only is it not going to restore the relationship or the marriage, it's going to actually backfire. Right now, she's off doing her own thing, confirming the bias that she has against you or the relationship. And by you backing off doing no contact like an immature idiot, it's cementing the fact that she has a reason to be biased against the relationship. All of her time is spent confirming the bias. It's cementing. It's making things worse. Time is only on your side if you put it there. Every day that you're doing no contact, are you building intimacy? What is the Latin derivative of the word intimacy? In-to-me-see. In your wife's case, she wants to feel seen. She wants to feel heard. She wants to feel valued. Is there any way possible that you're going to do that doing no contact? Now, in some of my videos, you've seen me actually post videos where the title is what to do when she needs space. Give her space. My recommendation or what my thought process is when I'm talking about space is 2, 3, 4 days. Maybe there's a cooling off period that's needed. But some of you have been in no contact for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 months. You will never have the relationship restored. She is on Snapchat, Instagram, asshookup.com, whatever, maybe at church, or maybe rekindling or taking an emotional affair to the next level because you're nowhere in the picture, because somebody's told you to do something stupid that's going to make sure that the relationship dies. So Denver, what do you mean by becoming her best friend? Here's how you become her best friend. For some of you, you're thinking, well, I'm trying everything, but she's just not listening. She has the wall up. It's because you're making the friendship about the marriage. It's because you're making the friendship about the relationship. Let go of the relationship. Let go of the marriage. Stop needing the marriage. Stop needing the relationship. Stop needing the divorce to stop. When you stop needing the marriage, she'll stop needing the divorce. Then the wall can come down, and then you can start the process of making her feel seen, making her feel heard, as you would a complete stranger that you're becoming friends with. This could be a man. This could be somebody of the same sex. Are you making the person feel heard and seen? This is the first step in becoming friends again. This relationship will not be restored with you trying to go balls to the walls and hurry up and restore the relationship because you feel desperate because a divorce has been filed, because you feel desperate because she has a boyfriend, because you feel desperate because she's taken some action that's made you feel like, oh my God, time is of the essence. If I don't do something right away, this is going to go bad to worse. And so you've become desperate. And so you're trying to bypass rekindling the friendship and go straight for the finish line. And if you do it that way, it's going to backfire. By the way, if you're doing that, put that in the comments and let me know what's made you desperate while you're doing this very thing where you're trying to go from, okay, we're separated. She doesn't want to be with me. She wants a divorce, and you're trying to go back to like you guys are happily ever after from A to Z, from zero to hero in one day. It's not going to happen. It takes time. Even if she wanted that to happen, her brain and your brain, neither one of you are psychologically wired for it to happen that way. It's just not the way that it happens. Even the Bible says you've got to be transformed by the renewing of your mind if you want freedom or you want anything manifested in your life that you want. And the way that you're transformed by the renewing of your mind, one of the ingredients to do that is time. And so it takes a minute. You guys didn't end up where you're at overnight. This is not going to be fixed overnight. On the other side of that, there's a lot of programs out there that are teaching you, okay, let's take a year to resolve this. Let's take a year to overcome these challenges and these differences and to climb the grueling relationship mountain. That doesn't work either. Here's why it doesn't work. Because confirmation bias is resolved and solved in 7 weeks. By the time you get to the 8th week of doing everything correctly, if your wife or your lover actually has confirmation bias, and for the majority of you that's watching this YouTube video, she doesn't have confirmation bias. But for those of you that do, if you've watched 3, 4, 5, 10 of my videos, you already have identified, does your wife or your lover have confirmation bias? If that's the case, watching YouTube videos is not going to be enough because you don't have time to figure it out. You got to put action steps in the correct order and the correct timing. In the case of confirmation bias, time is only on your side if you put it there. You should put it there fast. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how to do that. So how do you become best friends again? That leads me to number 2. The first way that you can start becoming best friends with your lover again is become the pressure relief valve where she feels safe to come let off steam. Well, how do you do that, Denver? Right now, she's going to her boyfriend to let off steam. Right now, she's going to her mother to let off steam. Right now, for all of you watching this video, if she has confirmation bias, she is going to what I call an enemy of the marriage, an enemy of the relationship to let off steam. She's going to bitch about everything in her life, especially you, to that enemy of the marriage. The way that you position the friendship so that you guys become best friends again is you become the pressure relief valve. Today, you are the person putting pressure on her. You need the relationship. You need the marriage. You're using the kids as an opportunity to get to see her. And she feels pressure every time you pick them up, every time you drop them off, every time she wants to FaceTime them. You want to talk about the relationship. You want to make it a conversation about the relationship, or how to stop the divorce, or how to get her to see the error of her ways. You're putting pressure on her to not do this. Stop doing all of that stuff. Let go of the marriage in your heart and watch the marriage be restored. Stop putting pressure on her and watch it pivot really quickly where you become the pressure relief valve where she feels comfortable coming to you to let off steam. How does she do this? You make it safe for her to come bitch about you to you. Right now, when she comes to you and bitches about you, you feel condemned, so you align your actions with your feelings and you feel the need to defend yourself. Put in the comments if that's you, if you're defending yourself. Let me ask you this. Anytime that you're defending yourself, that means that you are on the defense, which puts her on the offense, which means you guys are on opposing ends. I like to think of it like this when I play football. Whenever you have the fans on this side who are against the fans on this side, right? You guys are on the opposing sides of the football field. When your wife raises the machine gun and starts firing at you, if you raise the machine gun and start firing back by defending yourself, she's just going to keep firing more. What you've got to do is raise the white flag and say, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. Walk across the football field on her side and raise the machine gun also and start shooting the fans on that side with her. How do you do that? Stop defending yourself. Agree with her negative feelings and put a good name on the negative feelings. Well, Deborah, how do I do that? You agree with the negative feelings. You're right, I am a narcissist. How do you put a good name on the negative feelings? Give examples of why you actually believe that you had narcissistic tendencies from what she's describing. You're right, I have acted like a narcissist. Maybe I am a narcissist, and here's why I think that. All of a sudden, you've raised the white flag. You've removed the oxygen from the fire that's lit. When there's no oxygen, a fire can't keep burning. You're ruining her story. This creates curiosity. Whenever somebody's curious about you, they can't be confirming bias against you or the relationship because the human brain is incapable of thinking two thoughts at the same time. We're understanding now how you can actually biologically change the brain by changing someone's thought patterns. You, my friend, are the only person that can lead your wife or your lover to start thinking different thoughts about you and or the relationship. This is how you do it, okay? Now, in the Divorce Stoppers program, I go next level with this in vivid detail. If your wife or your lover has confirmation bias, you may not have time to figure out how to do this on your own watching YouTube videos. If that's where you're at, you might want to sign up for our free masterclass at denvergriffin.com ASAP, ASAP, if you feel like you're running out of time. So I want to ask you guys, if you have been putting pressure on her, if you now, after watching this video, are realizing, holy crap, Denver, I have been putting pressure on her. Everything you're talking about, I've been doing that. Well, some of you are thinking, I haven't been doing that. Let me ask you guys a question. Go back and look at your social media posts. Are they talking about a real wife or a real relationship? Or, you stick with people forever? Are your social media posts, are they any of the 3 C's? You hear me talk about in all of my videos, if you want a relationship restored, you've got to become a person that walks in your integrity in the 3 P's. The 3 P's are positive, polite, playful. Positive, polite, playful. Positive, polite, and playful. Are your social media posts CCC, CCC, which is the opposite of positive, polite, and playful? But Denver, what is the 3 C's? It's condemning, complaining, or criticizing. Are you putting up Bible verse on your social media right now about what it takes to have a good marriage? Are you putting up Bible verses about the new man that you're becoming? Because now all of a sudden you've shown up in the spouse that you shouldn't have for 10 years. And now all of a sudden you're walking the moral high ground. You've ran to Jesus and you're causing her to literally run from Jesus. If that's you and you're doing the 3 C's, this is putting pressure on her because it's walking in the 3 C's. It's complaining, condemning, or criticizing. Are any of your actions doing that? Have you asked her best friend to go talk her to see the error of her ways? Are you talking to her about morals? Are you trying to guilt trip her over what this is doing to the kids? Guess what? It is probably screwing the kids up pretty bad. And that's very true. But by you expressing that to her right now until you become friends again, until you become best friends again, it's harming the relationship. It's aligning your actions with your feelings. And it is the opposite of what works. What you've got to do to turn this around, to become best friends again, is you align your actions with your goals. And the way that you do that is you stop condemning, complaining, and criticizing. You stop doing it on social media. You stop recruiting others to do it. You stop recruiting or feeling good that your kids are doing it. And you stop doing it yourself in all ways, fashions, or form. So I want to ask you this. Have you identified ways that you are the one that's putting pressure on your wife or your lover, which is pushing her to go let off steam with the enemy of the marriage? So now not only does she have confirmation bias against you and or the relationship, you are giving her tools, you are giving her evidence, you are giving her reasons to go enroll enemies of the marriage to have confirmation bias against you and or the relationship as well, because she is going to recruit them because you keep giving her gasoline to put on the fire. Put in the comments if that's you, and specifically for the sake of the community, put in the comments what you see that you're doing after watching this video that is putting pressure on her, that is actually harming the relationship. Put that in the comments right now. For those of you that have been doing no contact for a long time, or even for a short time, put that in the comments, because this is also a level of immaturity. No contact means silence. In a way, it's actually ignoring someone. Ignoring someone is the loudest form of screaming. No contact in a long-term relationship or a marriage will always further confirm the bias. The relationship, if a woman has confirmation bias, will never be restored as long as it exists, and it's not hard to get it to go away. If you've ever seen any of the videos where I talk about there's no hard work to restore a relationship, hard work doesn't work. Working at the relationship is exactly what's not going to work. If that's you and you've been doing that, put that in the comments. So what is the third thing that you can do to restore a long-term relationship or a marriage? You want to use the addiction of dopamine, of positive new relationship histories, to literally get her addicted to the dopamine of good communication with you right now. And so how do you do that? You become best friends with her again. And I've just told you, avoid the 3 C's, walk in the 3 P's, and stop putting pressure on. So do number 1, do number 2, and then do number 3. My video editor is going to put this on the video right now. All 3 of these things, because they're tied to each other. So Denver, what are you talking about? Dopamine and addiction and all this stuff. Guess what? The majority of people are already addicted to the dopamine of getting a ding on their phone. What we want to do is after you become the pressure relief valve, where she feels safe coming to you, letting off steam, where you're never defending yourself. And guess what? When you stop defending yourself and you start agreeing with her negative feelings and you explain why you agree with the negative feelings, which is how you put a good name on them, she will become addicted to that form of communication with you because it's positive new relationship histories, because this is the first step in number 1, creating curiosity in her, because it's going to be radically different than what you've been doing. And anytime somebody is curious about you, that's the first level of attraction. And someone that's curious about you, they can't actively at the same time have thoughts confirming the bias against you and or the relationship. And when you stop her from thinking those thoughts, confirmation bias starts to slowly dissipate. But you've got to do it consistently for 7 weeks. So the way that you get her addicted to the dopamine of communication with you is the same way that you'll get addicted to the dopamine of communicating with her, which all of you right now, you are addicted to the dopamine of communicating with her. But we've got to pivot that because you're addicted to the negative interactions. Right now, the relationship is headed for failure if you don't turn that around and change the addiction of the dopamine to positive new relationship histories by establishing a mutual safe ground where you're opening it up, where she feels heard, where she feels seen, and she feels valued. For some of you, let me ask you this. Does your wife or your lover tell you, I don't feel safe around you anymore? Did you know that for a man, if I were to put you under a brain scan and I'm to talk about a rattlesnake, and I'm to say, imagine you're walking through the woods and a rattlesnake is chasing you. It's big and it's about to bite you. And like you really think this is a reality. And your brain is processing this is that this is smart fear that would save your life. You're going to process that physical fear in this region of your brain. But if I start talking about something that would be emotional scarcity, where you would have fear of something emotionally, a man processes that on another region of the brain. For a woman, she processes the rattlesnake fear in the same exact place that she processes emotional fear. I don't feel heard, seen, or valued by this man. Therefore, I don't feel emotionally safe. And it's very normal for a woman to become physically fearful when there's no valid reason to justify that. You've never abused her, you've never hit her, you've never shoved her, but now all of a sudden she cracks the car window when you guys hand off the kids because she feels physically unsafe. And that is a trigger for you because in your mind, there's no reason for that. I'm explaining to you the reason that you should actually give her some grace in that area because there's a very real reason that she's doing that actually makes sense. So how do you turn all of that around? Become her best friend, positive, polite, and playful. Never condemn her on social media, in person, or recruit other people to do it. Never criticize her, even if her actions are critical worthy. Never complain about what she's doing to make her feel like you're criticizing or condemning her. Always find something positive, polite, or playful to say. Become emotionally safe. Look for opportunities to see her. Look for opportunities to hear her. She's bitching about you being a narcissist. Let go of the story that you're not a narcissist. If you're watching this video, you're not a narcissist because a narcissist would not give a shit enough to actually care. That means you're not a narcissist if you're watching the video. But it's not your job to explain to her that you're not a narcissist. By explaining to her that you're not a narcissist, it's confirming the bias against her that you're actually a narcissist. Ruin the story. How do you do it? Positive, polite, and playful. Never verbalize condemning, complaining, criticizing. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Change your heart. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. There's power of life and death in your tongue. How many of you have been speaking death into your relationship? Raise your hand. Put in the comments. 100% of you should comment here. It's why you're watching the video. Aren't you ready to start speaking life into the relationship? Guys, for most of you watching this video, your wife or your lover does not have confirmation bias, and this video should be enough to turn things around and get you guys back on track. But for those of you that your wife or your lover does have confirmation bias, these YouTube videos are never going to be enough, and here's the reason. You're running out of time. And if that's you and you're 100% sure that that's you, listen, don't make the mistake that I did a long time ago. I was under this delusion that I was going to be driving down the freeway one day and I was going to hit a magical unicorn that was going to absorb in my car. And then all of a sudden one day I was going to wake up, and guess what? It was the nightmare that I was going through that caused me to lose 40 pounds in 6 weeks was over. Guess what? There's no magical unicorn. It's not going to absorb in your car. This is not going to fix itself. And for those of you that are delusional, like I was, that you had enough time to fix it, I actually was in a relationship that ended, that was not supposed to end, and so was my wife. My wife was in a relationship that ended, that was not supposed to end. But guess what? In both cases, we ran out of time. Whenever confirmation bias exists, especially if you're in a separation, there's a period of that separation that you find yourself in what I call the danger zone, meaning that a very good woman will do something radically different that's going to alter the course of both of your lives in a way that it's going to be permanent. Now listen, hear me out. For a lot of you, you're thinking, well, she's already with another man. There's no hope. That does not matter. We can use that. If they are not already actually married, I don't care if you've already had a paper divorce. There's two types of divorce. There's emotional divorce and there's paper divorce. If you're facing a paper divorce, or if you've even already had a paper divorce, if she hasn't already went down the aisle and said, I do with another man, you can turn this around. Go check out my free masterclass today because time is running out if she has confirmation bias. The website to do that is denvergriffin.com. The program Divorce Stoppers that I've been running for almost 11 years now, as of the date of this recording of this video, it is not a Christian-based program. I don't hide the fact that I'm a Christian. I'm probably a Christian of a different color, and I get a lot of hate from the Christian community, but particularly for Christians or anybody of faith. Right now, a lot of you have been holding on to faith. You're standing for your marriage. You've given your marriage to God because you've done everything that doesn't work. Now you feel like you're out of action steps, so you've just handed the marriage over to God. And you're saying, God, I give my marriage to you. Listen, if you're doing something like that, it's really kind of foolish advice to do something like that. God does not have a return desk for your marriage. He doesn't really want you to do that. The next video that's going to be coming up after this one, I want you to watch that. And in that video, I actually help you understand that there is a path to implement faith with works. You sitting on your rear end, expecting God to go do everything on his end, he doesn't want your marriage back. There is no return desk for your marriage. If that's you, you need to watch the next video. For the rest of you, and maybe all of you, if your wife does have confirmation bias and you know that's where you're at, put time on your side. Go and register for the free masterclass while we still have seats available. The website to do that is denvergriffin.com/masterclass, or you can just simply go to denvergriffin.com and click on Save My Marriage and register for the masterclass. Don't wait, do it today. Also, the masterclass, I'm going to do that masterclass anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour, depends on how many questions we get in the masterclass. If you go through the end of the masterclass and you feel like you're going to need something more, at the end of every masterclass, I always give you a link to book a call with me. Please don't make a comment. How do I get support? Wait until I'm done with the masterclass and I'll give you the link at the end. You can book a call with me and or my team, and we'll actually consider you as an applicant for the Divorce Stoppers program if you feel like you're in a place where you need to put time on your side. Much love to you. If you haven't already pressed the little bell button after you subscribed, please do that now.